Hi everybody, welcome on in. This is Crystal, also known as Goldsbane all over the internet. I am going to be doing a stitch with me today, Pavane for These Times by Long Dog Samplers. I have been doing this in a quilting thread. This is the thread I've been using. It's just a Coats and Clark variegated. And I'm doing this to replace Flosstube 12 that was put up last week. Laura from Stitching by the Shore was kind enough to reach out to me and let me know that the audio was incredibly staticky and kind of awful, and I went in and tried to fix that. Unfortunately, I could not because I don't have the proper tools on my laptop. So here we are. Such is the way of things. I am going to go ahead and download the tools on my laptop to be able to do a lot of the editing and stuff that I normally do. But for right now, you get a stitch with me with some just blabbering over the top, since I am recording audio after this was completed. I will apologize now for the camera. Um, there's a couple of wiggly spots and a couple of places where it's just not focused, and that's on me. I just wasn't paying attention, as you do sometimes. I got too busy stitching and just not paying attention to what I was doing, and that's okay. This is being done 1/2 on I believe this is a 37 count legacy linen. And I do stitch using the sewing method, and I do use a thimble. I know it's not standard for people to use a thimble, but because I learned to sew well before I learned to cross stitch, that's just kind of what happens. It's more comfortable for me, and I can stitch for much, much longer. It doesn't seem to pose any sort of a problem at all. In fact, it poses more of a problem when I don't have a thimble. So that's what's going on here. And you did see I had a short I put up when I found that thimble with the acorn. Found it at an antique store and took it home because I had to. I've been looking for one of the thimble holders like that for, I don't know, since I found out they existed. So a couple of years. And I happened to find that one, and it came home with me. My finger is now kind of green on the tip because it is a brass thimble. My other thimble that I use regularly is a silver thimble, and it's also an antique. Something that a lot of people don't really know is that thimbles are sized. So, well, they used to be sized anyway. So it was normal practice to size your finger for a thimble, or to know your thimble size and be able to go in and get the correct size thimble. The quilting thimbles that you find everywhere nowadays, they're actually a size too big. I think they're either a 9 or a 10, and I have my thimble size is an 8. So they're just a little bit awkward to work with. But I promise, I had put up Flosstube 12, and a handful of people had seen it and had liked it, even with the terrible audio. Thank you all. I appreciate that. But it definitely was not my best work. I was proud of myself for having worked on a project every single day. I had 14 projects to show. And so I'll be pulling the same ones out and working on them over, well, this week and next week. Or at least close to the same 14. I don't know. Who knows? And it will be just skipping and redoing Flosstube 12, 12B, as you will, for next time. I will also have a Stitch With Me coming out on Friday for the wardrobe. I was working on that today as well. So you get to see my cute little piggy pajamas or at least the insides of them. This is my process. It's simple. It gets the work done. After I got done with this, I thought I would reward myself with a pomegranate. And I didn't move it quite far enough to the side. And it's the rule of the household that I am not allowed to eat whole pomegranates or whole mangoes in anything resembling good clothing, because I just turn into this feral little beast and goblin munch all the way through it. If any of you have seen it's like a short or a TikTok or something where it's got the bird going into his berry eating cage, and it cuts to after and there's just berry everywhere, and there's a reason that he has to go into his little plastic cup to be able to eat. Yeah, that's me. That's absolutely me. That's how I've been my entire life. I do have to admit I have been really, really lucky. I was not a latchkey kid, so I had somebody waiting at home when I got home from school. I was able to get in and get the snacks and everything that I needed and have somebody there if I needed anything. But I swear, my grandma would be rolling in her grave if she knew what I got up to on the weekends. Because Grandma and Grandpa looked after us after school. And Dad was a single parent, and he had us on the weekends. And the standard behavior for the weekend was to get up, get myself a bowl of cereal because Dad was sleeping in. It was the weekend after all. Then I would grind the coffee and make a pot of coffee for him. And if y'all have listened to my grandpa giving me coffee story, you know that I had some too. And this started, I was taught how to use the coffee grinder and the coffee pot when I was, 7 years old, something like that. I took my responsibility very seriously, thank you very much. So I made the coffee every morning, and then I would run into Dad's room, go jump on the bed to wake him up, yell at him that I was going outside, and run for it. And then most days, he wouldn't see me again until the streetlights came on, which is, unless I was hungry, in which case I would come in and, Dad, I'm making toast, or something similar. I'm making mac and cheese, and I was left to my own devices. And half the time when I'd come in, when the street lights went out, he'd ask if I was hungry. No, I ate out of the garden all day. Because I would eat out of the garden all day. I knew how to turn the hose on and wash the carrots off, darn it. And that was my life. I was a feral little gremlin. And eating fresh fruit today, it shows. It definitely shows. But I was eating a pomegranate, and I got one of the seeds, just one, squirted across the fabric of this project. It's not where any of the stitching is. It's far enough off to the side that you won't be able to see it, thank goodness. But I saw it after I finished the pomegranate, because eating a pomegranate, little goblin, I was busy, thank you. But it'll be okay. It's off to the right side about now. Inch and a half from where the edge of the stitching will be. So I'm not worried about it. We've been busy the last few days. We cleaned out the storage unit and turned in the keys because, I'm still not working. I have had a few interviews, so things are progressing, but I'm still job hunting. There is, knocking on wood, there's a possibility that I may be able to actually get a job where the man thing works, so we'd be able to carpool, go in at the same time, leave at the same time. Same office, might as well, and that'd be fun. Well, not fun, but it would be at least helpful. So instead of being able to do a lot of the stuff that I would normally do and being able to work on some of the freelance things that are going on and working around the house and getting more stitching done, etc., 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 I've been working in the storage unit all weekend, and we now have plastic tubs all over the tiny apartment that was too small to begin with. I'm going to be spending the next week putting those away. We did get rid of quite a lot, though. There were some things that we just hadn't used in a few years that just went away, and things that, because it's a storage unit in Florida and there have been hurricanes and there's a lot of and this is one of the units that was not air conditioned. Some stuff got damaged. There was some mold damage. So it was an opportunity to go through and get rid of a lot of things, and about half of what we had in there actually went to the Goodwill. Still very usable stuff, just not for us anymore. And that's okay. I don't think it's anything either one of us is really going to miss. So we also have this weekend, because of the hurricanes, the haunted tours at the Museum of Seminole County History. Those were put off until this weekend. Today is the 19th of November, and those are going to be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I don't know if anybody is in the area or is interested, but the proceeds go to the Seminole County Historical Society. The tickets, there are still some tickets on sale. I don't know how many or for what tours or what times. The tour, it's a walking tour of the museum, lasts about an hour. You get to see a basement in Florida, or what passes as a Florida basement. It's kind of a new and different thing for most of the people that live around here. Um, but the tickets are $10 a piece. And if you just search for the Seminole County or Haunted Tours 2024 for the Museum of Seminole County History, you'll be able to find it. And I'm ready for that. It's going to be so nice. Those are supposed to be the days where it's actually supposed to cool down. And because my dress is full silk, I'm going to be nice and warm. I am not worried about it. I'm going to be in the silk dress. I'm going to have like 4 layers of clothes on because I do the full Victorian from skin out. So it's going to be a nice change. I'm not going to be sweating by the end of the night. Hallelujah and pass the peas. Speaking of passing the peas, we do have Thanksgiving here in the U.S. coming up right quick. I'm supposed to be making the cranberry sauce. Normally, the in-laws just do the canned cranberries, and I offered to do the fresh cranberry sauce this year because they just never have it. So we're going to have fresh cranberry sauce this year, which I personally prefer, but you know what? If you do Ocean Spray, good for you. That's an amazing company. Love Ocean Spray. And the way that they run things. But that's just me. That's my opinion. I'm not asking anybody to change theirs. But that's coming up. Not taking anything else, though. They didn't want me to do anything else as far as food. It's been a struggle to be able to provide even a little bit. Over the last few years, I've been allowed to make rolls and bring rolls because it has been discovered that I can bake bread. One day I'll be able to do the entire dinner. It's not going to be for a while, though. Honestly, that's fine. I don't want to have to get up at, 4 o'clock in the morning to put the turkey in the oven. Nah. Even if I take a nap later. No, not for me. What was? I forgot what else I was going to tell you. It was something that actually had to do with cross stitch too, and I can't. Oh, I remember. So I have gone ahead and joined the Heaven and Earth Designs 2025 Stitch Along, or Start Along, let's be honest. And I'm doing the Hieronymus Bosch piece, The Garden of Earthly Delights, because it's just weird enough that it will fit in my home, and also because I just love Hieronymus Bosch's work just because it's so weird. It's not because of the content of it or the meaning behind it or anything like that. I have to be clear there. It's just because it's really, really weird, but also still colorful and fairly bright, and I just really like what he did. So I saw that and knew it was going to be either that one or the one on the balcony, the one that's like mostly browns. But I went ahead and bought into that. I've got everything I need to get started except for the first pages of the chart because those don't come out until January, which is sad because I want to start right now. Right now. I am so excited. I'm ready to roll on this thing. I'm not sure. I'm questioning whether I should. I've got a scroll frame. I've got one scroll frame, and I'm questioning whether I should try to work on the scroll frame rather than working in hand. But since I really am not that comfortable using it, because I don't have a stand for it or anything, it's just a scroll frame, and I hold it and stitch, and it's just, ugh. So I'm not sure. I'm also going to be doing it in tent stitch, and it's going to be my first time working in tent stitch, so that's going to be new and different. I'm looking forward to the challenge, honestly. I'm also really glad that there has been at least 1,000 people sign up, so we have one of the freebie charts, and it is the most adorable little dragon with these safety goggles on. It is so cute, and I want to do that one too, but I'm not gonna even think about starting that one for a while. Partly because the man thing, Joe, the man thing, I haven't told him that I ordered the stuff to do the Heaven and Earth designs, because he would probably get very mad, and with very good reason. But I did. So it's too late now. It's mine. Secondary thing, I had talked earlier about, I believe it was the last Flosstube, I talked about doing a spawning sale, a spawning start along. SPAWNING And I'm going to go ahead and do that. And it's for my birthday. My birthday is in early January. Not going to start on January 1st because a lot of people are starting a lot of things on January 1st. And it would just be one more thing to add to the pile for everybody else. And that just doesn't seem fair, since this is one of the big, big starting times in the year. So I don't want to do that. But the theme for the year that I would like to do is to build a house with me. And I do have the Sally Kratis, Kratis, and that's the pattern that I'm going to be doing. And I'm going to, I already have converted the colors because the reproductions, they are gorgeous. But all the reproductions have the colors as they are now. So everything is all faded and it all kind of blends together. So instead, I took the photo of the original and I interpreted what I thought the colors would have originally been. And I'm going to be using silk. So I went ahead and purchased the silks for that. It's, I think, 7 colors. So, I mean, it's not huge. And I purchased linen for that, and I'm ready to roll on that one. I've decided that since the 4th is actually my birthday, I will be 47. Happy birthday to me. And it is also a Saturday. It would be probably best to start and on the 4th. So actually start on my 47th birthday and get that going then. So if anybody wants to join in, I would be more than happy to have you. I'm not sure how we're going to track anything or get in touch with each other because Instagram has decided that being able to track hashtags is not something that people should be able to do, so they're getting rid of that feature, or the being able to track. So I don't know. Maybe just hashtags on YouTube? Question mark? I don't know. We'll figure something out. Or you can always tag me as well. It's at Scoldsbane. Like I said, I'm Scoldsbane pretty much everywhere. So if there is a direct tag, I would be more likely to see it. I would actually be more likely to see it than I would check, hashtags anyway. I'm terrible at remembering to check them. I'm sorry, y'all. That's why I haven't been commenting on as many posts with people that are participating in the Lena Ovasal either. Sorry, it's not on purpose. I promise. But that's what I have coming up as far as official plans. So that's the biggest thing I've got right now. I'm still working on that one thread that I pulled at the beginning of this video. When I work with sewing thread or with quilting thread, I tend to pull almost a yard instead of the shorter 18 inches. Because I can still get to the end of it and be just fine without very many tangles or anything else. I mean, you've seen me pull a couple of small tangles out already. And it's done, or what I do is I'll insert the needle and wiggle, and it usually loosens it up enough that I can untangle it. This I have gone the center part. You can see where the little curls up at what is on the left side because I can't get the video to turn. But it's actually the top of the piece where the little curls go the opposite directions. That's the center of the piece. I've already gone all the way to the right edge with the exception of just a simple border. I think it goes another 4 stitches, 4 stitches beyond that. So I've gone all the way across the top and filled those motifs in. So I'm going across the top the other direction towards the left. And then I'm going to start working my way down. And we'll see how that goes. I'm just kind of working my way around on this one. I'm enjoying working on this sampler so much, I think because it's so dense. I really never did get much into samplers until I started watching more Flosstube. So thank you all for being enablers. And I never thought that I would actually get into the samplers until I started watching more Flosstube. So again, thank you all for being enablers. I actually started doing cross stitch back when pretty much all you could get were the kits, and it was all either 10 count or 14 count Ada. And there really weren't very many magazines or anything else. You know, this was, I don't know, oh gosh, late 80s, early 90s, I think is when I started. And then I set it down for a number of years because there were kids involved, and there was a husband involved, and then there was an ex-husband involved, and then there was, life just kind of happens. So it all got set aside until just a couple of years ago, and I picked it up again because I had been doing a lot of black work and a lot of more historical embroidery. And then I found Flosstube. So again, you're all enablers here. One day I'll be an enabler just like everybody else. I know a couple of people have already said that no, I'm an enabler. You're welcome. One day I'll have a larger influence of enabling. There we go. There we go. But until then, I'm just going to keep going. But I started with the kits, like I said, the late 80s, early 90s. And then when I picked it up again, I didn't even pick it up with a kit. I started with, I think it was a pattern that I got off of Etsy. It was like a smaller one. And then I think the second or third one that I got, or one of the earlier ones that I got, was the Baba Yaga's Hut, which I've shown on here a number of times in earlier Flosstubes. So I went from, I can cross-stitch a little towel, to, yes, let me do a ginormous, well, not ginormous, but a larger, 100,000-ish stitch piece. Full coverage. Lots of grays and blacks. Let's go. The entire thing is monochromatic except for the moon, which is a very light pink. There is no easy mode. Both feet, let's go. But that one is getting closer to done. It'll get there eventually. Not this year. And that's fine. And my big focus pieces that I'm going to have for next year are going to be the Haid, because I do want to get it fully done. I want all of them. I want all the patterns. Yes. So that's going to be like my huge focus. And then the Christmas stockings that I keep talking about doing for everybody. One for myself, one for the man thing, one for his sister, one for his mom, and one for his dad. And I want all 5 of those done by Christmas next year. So that's where my brain is going to be when it can be. I'm also, the wardrobe that I referred to earlier at the beginning of the video, it's a different playlist, but I am working on putting together a wardrobe from about 1900-ish. And I'll talk a little bit more about it when I do the Stitch With Me for that and do the vocals, the voiceover for that. But I was able to go through part of the contents of a trunk. I did not have the space to go through the entire contents of the trunk because some of it was still damp and needed to be laid out to dry and just moldy and dead bugs and gross and just ugh. But when I went into the museum and volunteered there, not last week, but the week before, one of the local families had found a trunk that was full of clothing that had just been left somewhere, I don't know where, but they brought it in and donated it to the museum. And it still has to be, it was still in quarantine. It's going to have to go all be sent out to a fabric conservator, because we don't have anybody on site that can do that. Though if anybody wants to teach me, as long as, I have enough to live on, that would be just incredibly awesome, and I would love to learn. So, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, if anybody has any resources. But it all needs to be sent out, and I was able to go through, like I said, about half of it, based on the newspaper that I found in there. It was all packed in about 1913. And I was going through and looking, and I have the skills. See, there's me picking it up. I have all of the skills to recreate every single item of clothing that was in that trunk from that time period. So that in itself is just a bolster to, yeah, I need to get this done. Because my desktop is being my desktop and needs RAM chips, which theoretically, knocking on wood, I'll be getting for Christmas. It's me knocking. Because of that, I haven't been able to do a lot of recording and editing and putting together to be able to post videos on that process, because I'm doing a lot of it both by hand and on the treadle machine. I've got a treadle machine. The serial number on the Singer, I looked it up, and it was commissioned to be made in 1908. Runs like a champ. We sew leather on that thing. There's no stopping it. So I've been doing work on that as well as by hand and slowly getting it all together. But because of the way things are, like I said, it's going to be another stitch with me. I'm going to be working on some pajamas, because pajamas are what needs to happen right now. It's supposed to be really, really cold for Florida this coming weekend. So it's Tuesday today. I could probably get them done tomorrow. My flannel nightgown, I'll have a flannel nightgown for when it's nice and chilly. And maybe we'll be able to actually open a window. It's been too hot. It's been, all except for the last couple of days, the highs have been over 80. Which is great if you really like summer. I'm originally from Colorado, though, so I kind of, missed that snow. I was talking to Dad, and he said when that snowstorm hit, he was in one of the areas that got hit pretty badly. And a couple days afterward, he said there was about 2 feet of snow on the ground after some of it had melted off. And they probably weren't going to be able to get out and get to town for a couple of days. So, hello, man thing.
Hello, people.
You want to come say hello to the YouTube people? You may not want to come say hello to the YouTube people. Come say hello to the YouTube people.
Hello, YouTube people.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to go finish getting the groceries out of the car.
Okay. See? He exists. Anyway, so yes, I'm used to there being snow on the ground and it being much colder. Even after living in Florida for, 15 years, 16 years, something like that now, it still feels strange to not have it be cold. It's just what I always had until, well into my mid-20s. So, but that's okay. That also means that I don't have to have 2 full wardrobes. All I need is a summer wardrobe and a couple of sweaters for the 2 weeks of winter that we have that are non-consecutive. but it'll be good. It'll be good to get that done as well. Um, so yes, my focuses for next year are going to be the hay, the Christmas stockings, and actually working on that wardrobe. So Flosstube may not have as many projects to show every other week. So I may be doing more Stitch with Me's if that's something you would like to see. I would love to hear it. I would like some feedback if this is something that you enjoy. And if not, then not. I'm not going to fuss either way. Doesn't much matter to me. Just let me know what you'd like to see more of, and I would be more than happy to oblige. All right. I believe I'm going to go ahead and end things here. I am just about, or at least I'm going to stop talking here. I'm just about to the end of the thread. So I'll go ahead and add a little bit of background music for you to enjoy. Thank you all so much for coming in and spending some time with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. As always, if you like what you see, to do that whole like thing and subscribe thing if you haven't already. And I hope to see you next time.